What's up, YouTube? So today I'm gonna be showing y'all a 2-guard system mid fade on my guy Troy. Right now we just prepping the hair, combing it out so we can see if he has any calyx on the hairline or throughout the hair, and just making sure we're getting comfortable with his growth pattern. So now what I like to do first is I like to prep wherever I'm gonna line up at. So just a little bit of alcohol on the neck strip, and we wiping down that front hairline and just getting it ready. What I like to do is I like to have a system of, first we're going to systemize everything, but once we get into the fading and cutting, we want to just flow. So right now we just starting out with a nice guideline that's giving us room to stretch out that mid fade. And we started in the back because that's the first reference point we can connect the sides to. And you see me line it up on both sides just to make sure we get an even fade. And notice my lines just aren't super perfect, and I'm also putting it in with the clipper that I'll be fading with. This is because it would be easy to blend out once we get to that step. You don't want to punch the line in with some super sharp trimmers and then spend all day trying to take that line out. In the shop, I'm gonna show y'all a real shop cut. This is just gonna be a mid fade, nothing too fancy. A cut that you're gonna probably get every day when you're in the shop. So I want to show y'all how to get it done efficiently, and also have a system to where y'all can get the same thing done every time the client sits in your chair. That's really what keeps the clients coming back, is some consistency. So now we just cleaning out the area below our guideline with the sharper trimmer, just so it's clean and smooth. And we're flicking up right underneath the guideline we had already put with the clippers, because you don't want to make the point of putting the clippers pointless when it going too high up into that area. And I hope I'm making sense, guys. Just bear with me, this is the first one, so obviously I'm gonna make some mistakes, but hopefully we can just all grow together and I can show y'all a nice fade system that's gonna give y'all a high quality result. So now we just following the hair pattern with the grain, taking it down to the desired length. My client wants a 1 on the top, so that's what we're gonna give him. It's still, depending on the texture, you always want to consult with your client what they think wavelength is, because the client will tell you wavelength, and you might take them down. You might think it's a 1, but their hair is so, their hair might cut a lot lower than what you think you intended on cutting. So never be afraid to work your way down with the guard when a client says wavelength. I didn't cut my guy Troy for probably a few months now, so I know what the 1 achieves on the top. And so for our fade, we'll only be using 2 guards. We'll be using the 0.5 and the 1.5. And this is because we want to have a good, simple system that can be achieved on any hair type. So I promise you, if you use your clipper and flick out and manipulate it by tilting your clipper, you can achieve a nice fade with those 2 guards. And I'll show you. And one last prep. We're prepping the lineup, so once we get in flow state, we're spraying it down with a nice spritz. It's gonna give it a nice hold and let it dry naturally. So once we get to that part for the lineup, we're just flowing. We don't have to go back once we finish our fade and re-prep the skin. We just do it all initially. We're setting our foundation up so we can get in flow state. And technically, this is, for me, the start of flow state. I'm setting in my first guideline with the 0.5 guard all the way closed. And I'm giving myself room to really stretch out that fade. We don't want to have compressed, condensed fades, because it actually looks like a kind of not faded at all sometimes. So we want to give ourselves room to really stretch the fade out and give a nice transition from light to dark. I know this might be a little bit different from what you've seen before. Usually people start with the lever open. The reason we want to start with the clipper, the 0.5 guard close, is because it's all a system. So we're starting here, but we're also going to finish here, and you'll see what I mean as you watch me do my fade. So I believe this, for me, I believe like once we start with this, it just helps us get that line out a lot quicker, because that's the same thing we'll be getting it out with. Now we're starting with our clipper close, attacking that line that we set out with that same clipper close. We're just gradually flicking up through the line and not going too high. But as we go up into blending out that line, we're also going to open our clipper little by little. So I like to just go close and flick at that line, and then halfway and then flick at that line. And at the end of that, I never try to flick past that line when I open my clipper all the way up that I set with the half guard close, because I already want that area to transition well once I finish it with the 0.5 guard close. I hope I make it sense. So what I just did was I threw on my 1.5 guard, and I had cleaned up that top portion. And I didn't take long there because we already cut it down with a 1. And going against the grain with a 1.5 guard is just achieving that same thing open, because as you go against the grain, you're cutting more hair with a higher number. So since we cut it down with a 1, having that 1.5 open achieves the same length. But now we had jumped back down to our half guard, and now we started open, but we're gradually working our way down that line and closing our clipper to fade it out. And guess what? Once we're all the way closed, we're at the same thing that we started with. So it should be a nice transition if you didn't go up too high with that no guard all the way open. And you can just see it's gradually coming together. And like I said, all we're gonna do is trust the process with our fade system, and because it's probably gonna be spots you miss, but you don't want to get caught up in trying to make it perfect the first go round. This is basically almost like a rough draft, and we're just trusting our system, because this is a real shop haircut. It's a lot going on when you're in the shop. You're gonna be flowing, you're gonna be talking to your client, you're gonna be having conversations amongst the whole shop. You know how the shop is, so you want to make sure you're just flowing when your client's in the chair and everything's going smooth. So I'm gonna kind of let this side play out and just watch me work the system, man. And sometimes it's good to just follow it with the grain, just to smooth everything out and make sure everything is transitioning how you like it. Now, one thing I will say, when connecting both the sides to the back, do not get, what I should say is trust the system. It might be easy to get lost now that you're fading out this final guidelines that you left in the back. But just trust the system and stretch the skin, especially on the client like mine who has waves. Sometimes, especially fading them, the waves will look like they might appear to be dark spots. So trust your fading system first, and then once you're done, just keep looking over it, stretching out the skin, and making sure you're getting rid of any dark spots. And you see me combing a lot. Make sure you always comb back the hair to its natural growth pattern once you're cutting against the grain, because you're gonna see what you just cut. Now I'm kind of just looking at it, checking any little dark spots I see, stretching out the skin, and getting in there with my corners. I'm not trying to put any more new guidelines in. I'm just cleaning anything I see that needs to be cleaned up. And now everything's already prepped for the lineup. So now what I like to do is I like to look at them directly from the front and see where that vertical bar wants to go. So I found my target area and I'm angling the clipper just a tad bit. So when the client looks straight and you look straight at them, it appears to be straight because the head is a sphere. So you kind of got to angle that line a little bit. And that's a pencil trick to put some on your glove just to guide you so you can see your lines a lot better and make it pop. And I know it's a lot of talk about pencil and enhancements, but at the end of the day, if the client respects the service that you're providing them, go ahead and do it. Like, this is all, we're all trying to achieve the same thing. We want the client coming out the chair as happy as possible, looking as best as possible. So any aid that you might need, go ahead and use it, man. Don't be scared to use a pencil or enhancement, especially if the client doesn't mind. So I'm just lining them up, trying to make sure they're matching as good as possible, utilizing my comb, utilizing any tools available to me. Just like we set our foundation up for the fade, we're setting our foundation up with the lineup. We set the vertical bars in. Now we have reference points once we line up in the middle. And all we want to do is walk it back and forth, walk our line back and forth. That's why you want to make sure all the foundation is nice and set properly, because that middle line that we set, we want to make sure it's nice and straight. And technically, all we got to do is just walk it back and forth to each corner that we already set. And take your time, guys. The lineup is like the first thing, people looking at. And you can't really go back if you dig into too much. So you just want to take your time, because you can never put the hair back, but you can always take more away. And all lineups are pushbacks. It's just a professional pushback. So you don't want to take it too far back and have a nasty grow back. And that's when the clients come back complaining like, bro, you pushed me back. You just want to take your time and get everything as sharp as possible. You see me utilizing the pencil trick again, trying to just sharpen up those corners a little bit. And notice how I'm taking my time. I'm not in a rush. I'm just trying to balance everything, making sure my client's lineup is nice and sharp. And we will be enhancing my guy Troy. He likes the enhancements. And we're not trying to do anything new that we didn't just line up. We just want to put a little more contrast and a little more pop to the hair and the lineup. So you kind of see me just grazing over any free hairs that might be on the lineup. So watch when I use my enhancements. I'm not even trying to do a whole lot of a whole lot of spraying here. I'm just trying to make a light little pop. Any light spots. And that's the thing with enhancements. You don't have to enhance every area. Like if you see little inconsistencies on the lineup, some areas are lighter, some areas are darker. You want to target those lighter areas and try to give it as nice of a balance as you can. And after we apply our enhancements, we're going to lock it in with a holding spray now. And the holding spray not only locks in the enhancements, but it also allows us to just tighten up the lineup, make it real sharp, and achieve anything, the desired look that we're looking for. And I like my vertical bars to really pop. I feel like I just like the look it gives off. So once I tap these in and tap in, solidify this front line, I'm gonna just go back over it with the razor. Look at that sharpness, man, that holding spray is giving me. This is all coming just from prepping the skin, man. And if you're a beginner, you don't need to have your razor that exposed. I just like to have mine that exposed. I think it gives a nice ash, but take your time using the razor. Make sure you're stretching the skin regardless of how exposed you have your razor. You see me brushing away any extra that we might have went with the razor, just to make sure everything's neat and sharp. And now I'm just getting into my detail work. That's pretty much. It's not a whole lot to do because we trust the system and we stick to the script. And you just go back and clean everything up. So I hope y'all like the cut, man. Let me know what y'all feel like I can hit on a little more, touch on a little better, or just let me know what you liked overall about this tutorial. Nice 2-guard system, simple, and this is an everyday shop cut, man. And honestly, sticking to this, you can get your time down. Using a lot of guards, it kind of might get you confused and throw it off in your system, but I think this is a nice way to start off learning a phase system. And hey, you can work your way from there. If you learn something new or you want to try to implement different things, there's always freedom to do that. But I hope y'all like the mid fade, and just stay tuned in. More tutorials coming soon.